Well, the folks at Apple have sure been busy little beavers. What's up, YouTube fam? I'm recording this right after the WWDC 2020 Apple event, and I want to give you my impressions and my reaction to what happened there. This is unscripted. If you see me looking down, I got notes on my iPad. I'm just giving you what I saw and how I felt from the perspective of an audio engineer who's also bought into the Apple ecosystem. We can talk, obviously, if you want to see all the features and things, go check out the keynote. It was like 2 hours long, though. They announced a lot of stuff. There was a lot of happiness and amazement. There was some disappointment. There was some excitement, and then there was sheer guttural fear as to the future of Apple products and what's going on. Obviously, I have iPhones, I have iPads. Start out with iOS and iPad. A lot of cool stuff, widgets on the home screen, picture-in-picture. The two things that can't stuck out to me that I wanted. There's a lot of stuff. It's fine. But the two things I wanted is now that the call notification and the Siri notification don't take up the whole friggin' screen. It's just a little bloop comes down, or the Siri thing is a bloop comes up. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. Something I've wanted. They're bringing it. I'm happy. Some of the stuff with CarPlay, the digital car key to where you can just use your phone, the NFC on your phone to start your car and do that. Provided you buy a BMW 5 Series, which we all know as musicians, as working musicians who are not famous, we all have BMW 5 Series, don't we? We'll just go buy a new one because we have that kind of money. No, but it's cool technology. It's going to trickle down. That's exciting. The app clip thing is cool. Then we get to iPad. And especially as a pro app user, the iPad's been kind of that thing. It's like almost. It's that almost device. It almost gives you what you need, but it doesn't quite make it. And I think, sadly, that continues a little bit for now. With what they announced for iPad, obviously, iPad gets all the same junk that iOS got. There's a lot of cool stuff with the pencil, with kind of correcting shapes and it recognizing handwriting as text and being able to use it with text. The AirPod switching is really cool to switch from device to device. I don't have an Apple Watch. There's some cool stuff coming on with the Apple Watch. It's not in the watches. Don't like stuff on my wrist. Like sleep tracking stuff. Apple continuously is promoting privacy, which I think is a good thing. I want them to keep it up. I want them to be the company of privacy. I like all that. That's good stuff. HomeKit's getting some cool stuff. The facial recognition, if it'll recognize, I guess, people in your contacts stuff. If you have a camera, like doorbell, your front door. HomeKit's open source now. They're working with Google and Amazon. I really hope that means they maintained privacy and security stuff. They seem to be doing that. I hope that continues. Apple TV gets picture-in-picture now. The new show, Foundations, looks really cool. But the thing that I and people like me are really curious about right now, and are maybe scared about, or maybe excited about, or a little of both, like me, is macOS. And the next version is macOS Big Sur. I don't know what that is. I haven't looked it up. Probably some sort of landmark. Craig Federighi is the band. Okay, but Safari's getting some cool stuff. The first thing that scared me a little bit, I keep looking down the notes, sorry guys, is Mac is getting some cool stuff from iOS, like Control Center. We've had kind of a notification center kind of thing. Last two operating systems. And they're definitely making it, like doing the whole rounded corners thing. Um, and with some of the icons and things like that, starting to kind of feel like iOS. Now, it's a good thing and a bad thing. Obviously, I like the way iOS looks. To be honest, I have an iPhone. I definitely use iOS a lot more than I use Mac OS, right? Because, like you, maybe not you, but I live on my phone, iPad. I have Apple TV, right? It's iOS everywhere, right? And then you come down, you work on your Mac. I kind of like the standardization of design language, but again, as a power user, it's a little scary because I don't want them to take away the professional features in Mac OS. At this point, it doesn't look like they are, but they're offering a lot of cool stuff. They're reworking some of the iWork app, which is fine. I use Pages all the time for lyrics and chord charts, making chord charts and stuff like that, which I usually do on my iPhone or iPad, and then just over to the Mac. Updating the Messages apps. The big major announcement that was exciting and terrifying all at the same time was something that has been rumored for years and years and years and years. I mean, we should have just expected it. We should have just known it was going to happen. But you still get that when old Timmy Apple there starts talking about it, and that is the move to Apple Custom Silicon. Now, again, it's mixed emotions. There's fear and there's excitement. There's fear because you don't want to lose the professional capabilities, but there's excitement because I'm sick and tired of Intel and their chips that run at 7,000 degrees. If you want them to accomplish anything, especially for audio editing, man, because you're just hitting that processor consistently in audio editing, and cooling is so important, and it's just difficult to mix on a MacBook Pro. I mean, it's because of the thermals. It's gotten better with the 16-inch MacBook Pro, but it's frustrating. And you can hit Apple saying, well, why don't you build better cooling? Well, because I don't want a laptop that's 12 inches thick, all right? And so I can't afford a Mac Pro. I want one. If you'd like to donate, hit me up. But they're moving to their own custom silicon. They're moving to the ARM architecture. They didn't say the word ARM, not once in the whole thing, but they said standardized architecture, which means ARM. Okay, I don't know why they didn't mention the word ARM. But I like the philosophy going in, and this is maybe what has given me a positive view of this and the hope, is that Apple really since the beginning, and especially in the last 15 years, have done a really good job of specializing software and hardware, right? The iPhone is very specialized in its hardware. The chipset matches the software, and everything's integrated, and everything works together, right? And I mean, in the beginning of Apple, it was the appliance that you just plugged in and it works. And that's what I love. That's the thing I love about Apple. As an audio engineer, I also love Core Audio because it works great. And I'm not afraid about Core Audio because we have it on the iPad, iPhone. You're hearing my voice through core audio. So it's so I'm confident in that. Feel good about that. But with the ARM Max, I feel like, and I have hope, and I really hope that they build an SoC that's very specialized for pro applications, especially on the higher tier hardware. Um, I really do. I really hope they do that. And it seems like that's the philosophy going in. Um, they they talked about pro apps. They talked about working with Adobe and Microsoft with Word and Office and stuff. But Adobe in particular to get these apps. So they're doing two things to port over the old software. Number one, they have this thing called Universal 2, which I think they did when they have switched over to Intel. Was the idea that they would give this app developer tool so people could take their apps and port them over to the new operating system. And if I remember correctly, I mean, and that was a long time ago, but I lived through that. I mean, I remember that transition from PowerPC um, over to Intel. And while it wasn't perfect, and it wasn't, it was okay. It was okay. And at the time, it really was a good thing. And I think this, at the end of the day, is a good thing. It's scary, but it's a good thing. And they also have Rosetta 2, which is the same thing they did. So you could run PowerPC apps on your Intel Mac that they did with Rosetta 1. They're doing that again with Rosetta 2, where you can run Intel apps on your new ARM Mac. Where that comes into play is plugins. Now, when the first transition happened, I was just learning Logic. And if you don't know, I am a Logic mixer. I'm a Logic user. I love Logic. And I've been using it for years. I mean, back to Logic 7 and the PowerPC days. And through that transition, I wasn't using a lot of third-party plugins, so it wasn't bad. And I was still learning. In that stage, I was still right in the beginning stages of learning. Well, fast forward to today, I have a massive amount of third-party plugins from Waves and Slate. My Waves and Slate ones, my Slate ones in particular, I use on every mix, and I use them a lot. Oh, it scares me. Logic has great stock plugins. I love their stock plugins. But I have a workflow, and I have presets, and I have things that are set up with all my Slate stuff. Steven Slate, please get your team on this as fast as possible. Please. Because I don't want to lose those plugins. I use them all the time. And that's the scary thing. Am I going to lose the plugins that I love that I'm using? Now, when they addressed Pro apps, they talked Adobe, they talked Final Cut Pro, but they left out Logic. Now, they said explicitly that all the Apple Pro apps are coming over, Xcode, Logic, the whole bit. So, and I'm very confident that Apple is going to make Logic work on this new ARM Mac. Apparently, they already have. They already did. They didn't talk about it specifically, but I'll take their word for it. But it's the plugins. It's the plugins that are scary. And I really am nervous about that transition. But at the same time, I'm ready to make it because I'm ready to take my mixes to the next level, to have a more powerful, more efficient machine to do that with. And it looks like that's the direction they're going. Now, the only piece of hardware that they mentioned specifically was a Mac Mini that they're only sending to select developers. You got to apply for this, and you're going to get this Mac Mini with the same chip that's on the new iPad Pro, the A12Z. Now I have the A12X on my 2018 iPad Pro. It's killer. I'd love to use that powered mix. Obviously, I can't do that, but that was the only hardware that only a few developers are going to get. And we want those developers to get that hardware so they can make the apps to work on our stuff. But they didn't announce any Macs with the ARM. Now, what he did say was the transition they're planning on taking 2 years, and that the first device with an ARM processor is going to ship at the end of this year. Okay, for consumers. Okay, but he didn't announce the specific hardware. Now, I don't know if this has to do with supply chain stuff with China and COVID. I imagine it does. I imagine they wanted to come in and rock new hardware, and they're probably afraid to announce stuff, which is fine. I don't want them to jump the gun and not be able to deliver. But at the same time, it's like, are they gonna? What do I do with buying a new computer? I'm at the point I'm ready to buy a new computer right now. Maybe some of you are in that same boat. You're ready to buy a new Mac, and now you're kind of freaked out. What am I gonna do? If so, hey, I'm in the same boat. Leave a comment down below, and tell me your thoughts on that, because I'm interested in getting getting people's opinion. I got to take some time to think about what I'm going to do. If you have an opinion, leave it in the comments below. Go ahead, hit like, subscribe if you like this video and me rambling on about various Apple products. There will be plenty of more music on the channel. If you tuned in here for music, it's coming. We're gonna have a new song up next week. Probably a new cover song next week, so stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, guys, have an awesome day, and peace out.